Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and we've got two battle replays for you today, both featuring the Windstorm map. Two tanks, both mediums, both play very similarly, one tier 6, one tier 7. The tier 6 is of course the mighty Cromwell, British tier 6 medium tank, driven here for us on the Windstorm map by Tim Panis. Tim Panis entitled the email which included this replay, "If you can't crom well, then don't crom at all." You get it? No? Never mind. When you see how he plays the Cromwell in this particular battle, you'll understand what he's talking about. Now, I like the Cromwell. I like the Cromwell a lot. This is one of the most fun tanks to play in World of Tanks, in my opinion, and it is a ridiculously popular machine, and for a very good reason. It's fast, it's agile, it's got a rapid-firing 75mm Vickers high-velocity gun. In fact, the only bad thing about the gun is that it can't fit a vertical stabilizer. If it could fit a vertical stabilizer, as the Comet can at tier 7, this tank would probably be a little bit overpowered. The only really bad thing about the Cromwell is it's not exactly over-endowed with an abundance of armour. And that of course means that when you elect to take a Cromwell into a close quarters city fight, as Tim Panis has here, things are going to get very interesting, particularly since he's the only member of his team to have driven his tank into the town, which, you know, dominates a quarter of the map and is fairly important. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Two members of his team even appear to be AFK. A medium and a tank destroyer haven't even left the cap circle yet. He spots his first target. It's a Grant. The Grant fires and misses. Tim Panis does not miss. The Grant fires and misses again. Tim Panis does not miss. The Grant fires and misses yet again. Poor guy's probably only running with a 50% crew. Why doesn't Tim Panis hang around and get the kill? Well, have a look at the map. I mean, he's all alone in the town here, and I'll guarantee you that Grant isn't. And he's spotted, and screw it. The Grant's not much of a threat. He wants to know whether or not somebody's sneaking up behind him. Nothing spotted there. There is an SU-100Y making his way into the town, but well, there's some distance between him and Tim Panis. Tim Panis is still pretty much on his own over here. Oh, target spotted. Come here, you little bugger. Where do you think you're going? This is where things start to get interesting. Remember, the Cromwell can't fit a vertical stabilizer, so snapshots like this, a lot of the time, are going to miss. Aim shots like that, however, not so much. While he's working this guy over, he starts to take some shots from behind, but he doesn't appear to notice at first because, well, it doesn't really do an awful lot of damage. It's very rapid firing and low damage, however, which suggests something like a Type 58 or a T-34 with that rapid firing 57mm gun. He gets out of line of fire, pokes the corner. Oh look, a Type 58. Snaps a shot off at him, it hits, return fire goes into his tracks, here comes that Sherman. Snaps a shot, it misses. Sherman's now sitting there on the corner waiting for him to poke out, so let's not do what the Sherman wants us to do. The only support he had around here was an SU-100Y. He was firing from the outskirts of the town, but he's just been taken out by artillery, and then disaster strikes. He has to burn his repair kit as his ammo rack gets damaged by that Sherman Easy 8, another very similar performing tank to the Cromwell tier 6 medium. Let's not fight that Sherman Easy 8. That would be far too much like a fair fight. And fair fights are for suckers, but the Sherman Easy 8 has other ideas. Oh, he's missed. Clips him, attempting to knock his tracks off, doesn't work, gets another shot into him, and the Sherman misses again. And again. Oh, there's the Type 58, angles as best as he can against him. Type 58 fires into his tracks, takes a hit from artillery, he gets the second shot off, nails the Type 58, gets his tracks back up. Here comes the M4, puts a shot into the side, M4 fires, his tracks take the beating again. M4, realising that he's a one-shot kill now, is he going to pop out? Probably not, but he loiters around on the corner long enough for the M37 artillery to finish him off. So, a couple of enemy tanks, what looks like an 88 tank destroyer and a Matilda have managed to skirt around the outskirts of the town and are now approaching the base. So, rather than just drive straight at them, he checks to make sure that there's nobody else following them up, and that's when he spots one of the enemy artillery. Lets it aim. One more shot should do the job, and nails the artillery. Right. Flank secure. Now let's deal with that Matilda. who is having a great time shooting up the AFK T-34-85 sitting there in the base. And let's not forget the 88 as well. T-34-85 was not deliberately AFK. You'll actually see him in chat in a moment. He lost his connection, got back into the game to find himself dead. So this is not going to be a particularly good first win of the day for him. The Matilda's been taken out by the FV304. That just leaves the 88. Now the 88 here, who does not have the 17-pounder gun, does at least appear to know what he's doing. Whether by accident or design, he reverses and jams the ass of this tank destroyer up against the wall, thereby denying Tympanus the opportunity to get around him. And so they just sit here blazing away at each other, and Tympanus could have very easily lost this fight, except here, bang, there we go, angled the tank just in time to bounce the last shot from the 88, putting his final shot into the 88's commander's cupola and finishing him off. Shout out, by the way, to the friendly FV304, old Bert the Avenger on the team there, who's been giving Tympanus some fantastic fire support all throughout this game as Tympanus avoids another shot from the enemy FV304. And now there's only 2 tanks left on the enemy team. Surprisingly, one of them's the Grant, the first target that Tympanus spotted and put 2 shots into during the course of this battle. The FV304, of course, is also alive, and Tympanus does not have an awful lot of health left. And, well, you know what Bert the Avenger's like. So Tympanus is going to have to be cautious here. Takes the low ground, down by the river embankment, under the bridge. Come on, you little bugger. You're out there somewhere. This is more or less where that Grant was. Pokes the corner, doesn't appear to get spotted. One shot, that's all it's going to take. He's obviously anxious not to get spotted and shot up by Bert the Avenger there, checking his corners. Oh, there's the M3. But he's not firing. Tympanus snaps a shot, nothing happens. No return fire from the Grant. He's AFK, isn't he? Yep, he's AFK. And now he's dead. But he was spotting for Bert the Avenger, who fires and misses. Right, Tympanus, get up there. Do not let that little bugger get a second shot off. At that kind of range, you can probably expect 2 out of 3 of shots fired from the Cromwell on the move to miss. But at this kind of range, not so much. You're going nowhere, sunshine. So, a very quick, dirty and violent ace tanker, top gun and high caliber for Tympanus in the British Tier 6 Cromwell on the Windstorm map, with almost 3,000 damage done, which is not bad for a gun that only has 135 average damage. That was a lot of shots fired, a lot of shots missed, but a lot of shots that hit as well. For our next battle, we have almost exactly the reverse situation of what happened to Tympanus in the previous game. This is Pika-Pow. Now he's taking his time loading into the game, and when he finally starts moving, it's almost the exact opposite situation of what occurred to Tympanus. All of his team have headed into the town. He's obviously also starting on the other side of the map, and the northern flank is completely open and exposed. His team have already lost a KV-2 and an E-25 of all things, and that flak bus over there looks like he's going to be next, and the artillery on Pika-Pow's team does not appear to be paying the slightest bit of attention to the fact that if Pika-Pow cannot stop this onslaught, they're going to die next. Flak bus is gone. Pika-Pow keeps that 90mm firing, hits the VK, blows his tracks off, the VK repairs, attempts to use the wreck of the flak bus as cover but cannot quite make it around in time. But oh, here comes a T-67, and well, you know what the rapid firing 76mm gun on this thing is like, except the T-67 is doing absolutely nothing. He's either disconnected or he's just rage quit. Doesn't really matter which, he needs to die. And, well, at least one friendly artillery has woken up to the threat. Pops the ridge. Oh, T-25AT. Don't want to get hit by that thing, especially if he has the 105mm gun. Dodges his shot, scores a hit, falls back. Come on, Artie. At least be motivated by self-preservation. Did that guy fire high explosive? He did. No damage. Kills him. T-25AT? Really? That's your plan, is it? You're so intent on an artillery kill, you're going to let a T-20 get behind you. Well, far be it from us to interrupt. Never interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake. It's impolite. Right, artillery defended, minimal damage taken, multiple kills secured. Now, I realise I did have a bit of a giggle at the Panzer IV-H just there for firing high explosive at him, but that's not actually such a bad idea. If he'd hit the T-20 anywhere other than the turret, he could have done substantial damage. In fact, Pika-Pow was momentarily still spotted there. Artillery fired, didn't hit, blew his tracks off, and did a fair amount of damage to him. Not a particularly heavily armoured tank, just like the Cromwell. High explosive penetrating damage, particularly artillery, can really mess this tank up. Now, I keep comparing the T20 to the Cromwell, although it would probably be fairer to compare it to the Comet at Tier 7. They are both Tier 7 medium tanks, however. And while the Comet, the Cromwell and the T20 do share a lot of characteristics, at least as far as speed, armour and mobility are concerned, the one big difference is, of course, the T20's 90mm gun. Now, whereas in the British mediums you can pretty much afford to just hose the shots around while barreling full pelt around the map, particularly in the Comet because it can fit a vertical stabiliser. The guns fire so quickly it doesn't really matter if you miss, you just keep shooting. Some of them are going to hit and some of them are going to do damage. You can't do that in the T20. This 90mm M3 gun is very, very good, but it's plagued with a very, very slow reload. It does in fact have the slowest reload of any of the American tanks, heavies, mediums and tank destroyers that can fit this 90mm gun. So with the T20 you've got the speed, you've got the manoeuvrability, but you have to make every single shot count with this gun. The plus side to that is, of course, that, well, unlike the 75 and 76mm guns on the British mediums and the other American mediums, with this gun, one shot is often all it's going to take. So you can see straight away the difference in playstyles, whereas an Easy 8, a Comet or Cromwell would have kept moving, got around the 212A, put multiple shots into him to ensure he was dead. The T20 stops, it aims, and it makes sure that first shot is all it's going to need. If you drive around just assuming that enemy players aren't paying attention to the fact that their artillery's starting to die and there's a T20 sneaking around the flank, well, 80% of the time you'll probably be right and you'll do very, very well, but 20% of the time you won't. So it pays to at least act as if the enemy are capable of thinking and breathing at the same time. There's the enemy IS. Yep, nice little side shot into him. So we know where the IS is, but we don't know where the OI is, and we don't know where the enemy artillery are. And are they paying attention to the fact that the 212 just died? Well, it looks like the M44 isn't. I mean, he hasn't moved that far from the cap circle since the game started. He takes the shot and then starts moving. So, well, we know he's got sixth sense, and we know that he is at least paying attention to that. Still haven't seen the Su-14-1, and still haven't seen that OI. And the OI can potentially one-shot kill a T20. Pick-a-pow's in the cap circle. He doesn't really have... Oh, wait, there we go. Yep, he's got... Oh, wow, he hammer-racked him. That's always pleasant. Well, if they don't know he was here before, they have to know he's here now. IS has been knocked out. There's the OI, and it's always gratifying when you're in a thinly armoured tank and you spot an OI who doesn't have his gun pointing towards you, takes him out with a side shot. This, by the way, is Pick-a-pow's only second ever Top Gun. This was one hell of a game for him. He was justifiably proud of his performance in this one. The only thing left to kill is the Su-14-1 artillery. And he's got to be in the town somewhere. There's quite literally nowhere else for him to be. It's probably going to take more than one shot to kill him, however. Oh, crap. Ah, bollocks. And it was all going so well. Hey, at least the Su-14-1 went down fighting and didn't try to suicide. So, Pick-a-pow, you're just going to have to settle for 7 kills. I doubt Pick-a-pow is complaining though. Surprisingly, that was only a first class mastery badge, but he managed to secure the Top Gun, only his second ever, and the high caliber award. And as a consolation, if you do have to get taken out by an enemy player, well, there's certainly no shame in getting taken out by the highest scoring player on the enemy team, because that is in fact what the Su-14-1 was. He finished with almost 3,000 damage in that game, as did Pick-a-pow. It's just a shame there was no mastery badge for you in that match, Pick-a-pow, but, well, I dare say you're probably quite pleased with the result anyway, and you're certainly not complaining. So, that was today's video in World of Tanks. I thought it provided a nice little contrast there. You've got the Cromwell on one hand, fast, manoeuvrable, rapid-firing gun, all alone in the town on Windstorm, having to deal with multiple enemy tanks, and then you've got the T20. Fast, manoeuvrable, but with a slow reloading, high damage output, 90mm gun, also on Windstorm, this time from the opposite side of the map, having to deal with more or less exactly the same situation, but on the opposite flank. So I thought that provided a nice little contrast and something to basically pin today's video on. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway, and that is it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.